He called me at 3 a.m. My card declined at the club. Send me $3,000 right now or they won't let us leave. I replied, call your investors. Then I turned off my phone and went back to sleep. The call I got from his brother the next morning. I'm a financial analyst. I live by spreadsheets, contingency plans, and a retirement account that's been consistently funded since I was 23. My apartment is paid for 6 months in advance. My emergency fund could cover a year of expenses. I don't do chaos, and I certainly don't do financial surprises. Dixon, on the other hand, is all flash. He works in tech sales, or at least that's what he tells people. The income seems decent enough, but it's inconsistent. Some months he's closing deals and talking about bonuses. Other months, he's vague about why his commission check was delayed. What isn't inconsistent is his spending. Designer sneakers. Bottle service every weekend with his boys. A lease on a BMW he definitely can't afford. He calls it investing in his image. I call it living beyond your means. When we got engaged, I made one thing crystal clear: separate finances. No joint accounts. No co-signing. No blurred lines. He laughed it off like I was being paranoid, said something about how his girl shouldn't worry about money. That should have been my first red flag. But he was charming. Confident. He made me feel like maybe I was too rigid, too cautious. Maybe I needed someone who lived a little. I was wrong. The boundary pushing started small. Babe, just spot me until Friday. Or, can you grab dinner tonight? I'll get you back. He never did. Then it escalated. He suggested I contribute to his car note since I rode in it so often. Proposed that I cover utilities if he handled rent on a place we'd share. Conveniently, his half would be less. Every suggestion was wrapped in charm, like he was doing me a favor. My girl shouldn't have to stress about money, he'd say, right before asking me to stress about his. His friends were worse. Marcus, Jared, and Kyle, a trio of perpetual clubhoppers who measured success in Instagram posts and bottle parades. They'd roll up in rented luxury cars, wearing clothes they'd return the next week. Everything was a flex. Everything was about looking rich. And Dixon ate it up. He couldn't be the broke one in the crew. Couldn't be the guy who ordered regular instead of premium. They'd clown him if he didn't keep up, so he spent money he didn't have to impress people who didn't care. I watched it happen in real time. Watched him choose their approval over financial sense. I should have walked away then. But I thought love could fix it. I found the perfect place for us. Dixon showed me the listing like a kid on Christmas morning. High-rise downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Rooftop pool. Rent that made my stomach drop. It's $4,200 a month, I said, doing the math instantly. That's more than half your income on a good month. Our income, he corrected. We'd be splitting it. Except we wouldn't be splitting it equally. Not really. He wanted me to liquidate part of my investment portfolio for the deposit, first month, last month, security. Nearly $15,000 upfront. It's an investment in our future, he said. In us. No. It was an investment in his image. In keeping up with Marcus and Jared and their downtown lofts. I stared at that listing for 3 days. Ran the numbers a dozen different ways. Every spreadsheet came back screaming no. But then he'd text me photos of the view. Talk about hosting dinner parties. Paint this picture of the life we'd build together. And for a moment, a stupid, reckless moment, I considered it. Love versus logic. My heart versus my balance sheet. I told him I'd think about it. That was my second mistake. 2 weeks later, Dixon announced he had to fly to Miami for a networking retreat. Big investors, he said. Could be the deal that changes everything for us. He showed me the itinerary. Business meetings. Potential partnerships. A chance to finally level up his career. He needed to look the part, he said, so he bought a new suit. New watch. Said it was all part of the investment. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him. The night before he left, I found the receipts in his jacket pocket. Not business dinners. LIV nightclub, $800 table minimum. A jeweler in Wynwood. Bottle service at Story. My hand shook holding those receipts. When I confronted him, he laughed it off. Said the investors liked to mix business with pleasure. That's how deals get done in his world. You have to show you're successful to attract success. It sounded like bullshit. But he kissed my forehead and promised this trip would pay off. Told me to trust him. So I swallowed my suspicions. Convinced myself he deserved to blow off steam. That I was being controlling. Too rigid. I let him go. The first day, Dixon sent a few texts. Meeting's going great. Talk later, babe. By day 2, nothing. I called. Straight to voicemail. Texted. Left on read. Then I saw Marcus's Instagram story. A poker table stacked with chips. Champagne bottles lined up like trophies. A caption, when the boys link up #Miami Nights. My chest tightened. I scrolled further. Jared posted a video from what looked like a private suite, girls dancing, money being thrown, Dixon barely visible in the background, drink in hand. No business meeting. No investors. Just his toxic crew doing what they always did, spending money they didn't have to look like people they weren't. I tried calling again. And again. Nothing. By day 3, the anxiety was eating me alive. I imagined him racking up tabs, gambling away rent money, making promises his bank account couldn't cash. Qley posted one last story before the weekend ended, a roulette wheel spinning with the caption, "Double or nothing baby." I didn't sleep that night. Just stared at my phone, waiting for the inevitable disaster. It came at 3:02 a.m. I jolted awake to the sound of my phone vibrating violently on the nightstand. 3:02 a.m. Unknown number. My heart was already racing before I even touched the screen. Something primal told me this was it, the call I'd been dreading all weekend. I sat up in bed, the blue light from my phone cutting through the darkness. My hands trembled as I stared at the screen, debating whether to answer. It rang again. Insistent. Desperate. I swiped to accept. The noise hit me first, pounding bass, shouting, the unmistakable chaos of a packed nightclub at closing time. I could barely hear anything over the music. Hello? Demetra. Babe. Thank God. Dixon's voice, frantic and slurred. Panic wrapped around every syllable. What's wrong? My voice came out flat. Cold. I already knew. My card declined. They're saying I owe $8,000 for the table and bottles and, baby, I need you to send me money right now. 3,000. They won't let us leave until. The music roared louder. Someone was yelling in the background. My jaw clenched. Here it was. $3,000? I repeated, my voice eerily calm. At 3 a.m. Yes. Demetra, please, I'm serious. Security is right here, they're threatening to call the cops if I don't pay. I just need you to Zelle me right now, I'll pay you back as soon as. Pay me back with what, Dixon? What? With what money? The money from your big investor meeting? The networking retreat that was supposed to change everything? Silence. Just the thump of bass and distant shouting. Babe, please, this isn't the time. You lied to me. The words came out sharp, cutting through his desperation. There was no meeting. No deal. Just you and your boys gambling and stunting at clubs you can't afford. Demetra, I swear I'll explain everything, but right now I need. Call your investors. What? You heard me. Call your investors. The ones you flew to Miami to meet. Ask them for the 3,000. Baby, please. I am not your contingency fund. I hung up. Blocked the number. Turned off my phone. And went back to bed. I woke up to 47 missed calls. Dixon. Marcus. Jared. Unknown numbers. A voicemail from someone claiming to be the club manager, demanding I handle my man's tab. I deleted it. Then Marcus texted, "Yo, this is fucked up. Your fiancé is in jail because you wouldn't help him? What kind of woman are you?" I blocked him too. Around 9 a.m., a number I didn't recognize called. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Demetra? This is Cameron. Dixon's brother. I'd met Cameron once, briefly, at a family dinner. He'd seemed like the opposite of Dixon, quiet, serious, responsible. I know what happened last night, he said. And I need to tell you something he's been hiding. My stomach dropped. Dixon wasn't in Miami for business. He was there for a gambling weekend. High-stakes poker, sports betting, he's been doing this for months. Months? He owes people, Demetra. Serious people. That 3,000? That's nothing. He's nearly 100,000 in debt. Credit cards maxed. Loan sharks involved. He was planning to. To what? To move in with you. Combined finances. Make it your problem too. Cameron sent me screenshots an hour later. Credit card statements. Collections notices. Threatening emails from offshore betting sites. The numbers blurred together as I scrolled, each one worse than the last. $23,000 on one card. $31,000 on another. $18,000 to something called Platinum Elite Gaming Services. The total sat at the bottom of his spreadsheet, $97,400. Nearly $100,000. I met Cameron at a coffee shop that afternoon. He brought a folder, physical proof of everything Dixon had been hiding. He opened 3 new credit cards in the last 6 months, Cameron said, sliding documents across the table. Applied for loans using his future address, your address, as collateral. My blood ran cold. He was going to propose combining finances after the wedding. Sell you on the joint account thing. Then slowly transfer his debt onto shared cards, shared loans. Make it a we problem instead of a him problem. I stared at the paperwork. At the carefully constructed lie my life had almost become. The apartment he wanted you to rent together? Cameron continued. He planned to bail after 6 months. Leave you holding the lease and his debt. Premeditated financial fraud. That's what this was. Dixon got out on bail 2 days later. He called immediately, crying, apologizing, promising he'd get help. I didn't answer. Instead, I packed up everything he'd ever left at my apartment. Clothes. Toiletries. The expensive watch he forgot on my dresser, probably hoping I'd pawn it for him eventually. I met him at his loft. Handed him the box on the doorstep. We're done, I said. Demetra, please, let me explain. You used me. Lied to me. Planned to destroy my financial security to cover your addiction. That's not a relationship. That's fraud. He tried to grab my hand. I stepped back. I loved you, he said, voice breaking. No. You loved my credit score. I slid the engagement ring off my finger and dropped it into the box. Walked away without looking back. 3 months later, I'm in a new apartment. Lease in my name only. Emergency fund still intact. Retirement account growing. Sometimes I think about that 3 a.m. call. About how close I came to wiring that money. To saying yes to the apartment. To merging our lives. I dodged a financial apocalypse. And I've never slept better. If this story just saved you from wiring money at 3 a.m. to the wrong person, hit that subscribe button. I share real stories about boundaries, red flags, and financial self-protection. Have you ever ignored a red flag that almost cost you everything? Drop your story in the comments.